Myself Sanjay Ghosh from BSLP 4th semester, roll number 18. Now I am going to present e-learning materials on pupophonia in terms of therapy strategies and counseling under supervision of Mr. Indrajit Chatterjee sir, lecturer in speech and hearing arts, Kolkata. Introduction. What is pupophonia? Pupophonia is a functional voice disorder that is characterized by the habitual use of a high-pitched voice after puberty, hence why many refer to the disorder as a resulting in a falsetto voice. It is also known as mutational falsetto, functional falsetto, incomplete mutation, adolescent falsetto, or pubescent falsetto. Actually, pupophonia is a voice disorder that is functional voice disorder that is persists beyond puberty. Other symptoms are hoarseness, that is roughness in voice, breathiness, that is excessive air product leakage during speech production or voice production, pitch breaks, inadequate resonance, swallow breathing, muscle tension, lack of variability. The complaint that patients are reported that are inability to shout or compete with background noise and vocal fatigue. Falsetto, incomplete mutation, persistent falsetto is also. Males are said to have mutational falsetto, females are said to have childlike or juvenile voice. Next, we have to know who experiences pupophonia. Post-pubescent males due to inability to pitch to lower, individual with hearing impairment due to poor auditory feedback, adult men and women. That is, pupophonia can also occur in women. Here we can see a picture of normal larynx. We can see the two vocal folds, vocal cords. Next, to the vocal cord you can see epiglottis, and next to the epiglottis it is esophagus, and you can also see the larynx, that is voice box, from which can produce voice, and then we can see trachea and also can see tracheal ring. Then we have to know reasons of pupophonia occurs: embarrassment of new voice, failure of male to accept their adult role, over identification of a male with his mother, socially immature, desire to maintain soprano singing voice, muscle incoordination dysfunction with no common etiology. We know when a male go to the after puberty his voice, and in case of singer, if his voice gets changed, it may be risk to our career. Current researchers feel that more likely cause is an attempt to control unstable pitch and quality characteristic. High-pitched voice characterized by pupophonia is caused by increased tension and contraction of the muscle in the larynx. Here we can see movement of vocal cord during inspiration and expiration. It is a picture of adduction of larynx. In the first diagram, we can see the action of transverse adenoid muscle. The middle is the action of vocalis and thyroid muscle, and the last picture you can see action of lateral cricoid muscle. It is a picture of abduction of larynx. In case of abduction of larynx, a major role of action of posterior cricoid muscle. Now we have to go to the treatment of pupophonia. First, we have to know goals for pupophonia treatment. Teach the patient to phonate at a low pitch by showing him how to use his phonatory and respiratory musculature to its full capacity. Demonstrate that the new low pitch is to be used and avoid the old high pitch. The SLP should see that the patient is comfortable with his new voice through encouragement and help him use it in different situations. That is basically goals is in case of voice therapy, the clinician learn the client to use low pitch voice and how to use low pitch voice, and demonstrate the how to avoid the old high pitch voice. Next, voice therapy technique for pupophonia. First technique is a coughing technique. In coughing technique, the client has to sit up straight with chin tilt slightly up and mouth open position. Then he have to take a slow deep breath to full lungs, about 3/4 full, and hold breath for 2 or 3 seconds, and then exhale forcefully but slowly in a continuous exhalation to move muscle mucus from the smaller to the larger airways. It is a video of Pyophobia patient for coughing technique.
So Paul's come in today to help us with our coughing technique, and he's going to be helping me demonstrate to you how to use.
Let us demonstrate the coughing technique step by step.
All right, so what we're going to start with, Paul, is your back against the chair, your chest is lifted. All right, so I want you to start with 3 deep breaths. Now I'm going to place my hands around the base of your ribcage there, and I want you to breathe that direction, but I want you to breathe into my mouth and let the air just fall away. So try not to force it out, just let the air come out gently. Relax breath, just a couple of relaxed breaths. Good, you feeling comfortable? Great. Okay, we're going to go into 3 more deep breaths, then we'll be using our huff technique to get rid of all the secretions. So again, deep breath into my hands. So this is like a preparation exercise for the technique we're about to use. It'll stop you getting dizzy when we do that technique. And it's now currently milking some of the secretions through to your central airways. Great, we've got 1 more to go. So hands on the rib cage, good. And as long as I can, and really forcefully. So I'm going to give you the same thing in that direction. Again, try not to cough if you can at this stage, because we're trying to draw the secretions to the central airway. Okay, so a half breath in and forcefully go. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Good, and come back up. Wasn't too bad, but try not to bend forward if you can. Try to stay tall if you're able to. So we're going to go again. Just a half breath, keep the mouth open and push it out, push the air out. Really keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. That's it, nice and steady. So Paul, you could perform that technique again once more. That whole route starts to shift into the central airway so you can start to cough it out. So thank you very much for your help to that session. Otherwise, your oxygen levels can fall. I'll list this routine in the description below too so that you can refer back to it later on. Now, when to do this technique? Ideally, during an exacerbation, you might find that doing this whole routine twice a day, ideally in the morning and night, helps you clear your chest and cough more effectively. So I really hope this technique helps you cough more effectively and feel much better. If it helps, or perhaps if it doesn't, let me know in the comments below.
Next, procedures are speech range masking, glottal attack before a vowel, relaxation technique to reduce tension of the larynx, busy pitch technique, digital manipulation of the thyroid cartilage while producing a vowel, lowering the larynx to an appropriate position, humming technique while sliding down the scale. Then half swallow boom technique. It is a very effective technique for Pyophobia patient. First, the client asks client to swallow, and this action is still in progress. Say boom. Let the client produce in low-pitched voice. Ask the client to say boom louder and with less breathiness. Have the client discriminate between the normal production from the boom production with the help of tape recorder. It's look just like boom. It's look like that. After therapy, the clinician may record the Uppsala boom technique and discriminate between the client discriminated between the normal production of the boom production. What is the difference between the normal production of boom production and half swallow boom techniques boom production? Then we have to know why half swallow boom is believed to work, because the swallow procedures maximize closures of the larynx. When we swallow, in the time our larynx get maximum closure position. And other is boom is a single word composed of voice sound that is able to produce as air is released from the constricted larynx and the oral opening is minimized, produces posterior pressure on the larynx. Boone and McFarlane believe this technique is a slow progression to get the patient to lower their pitch. And we have to know why there is a question before using half swallow boom technique. Penbaker 2001 find boom and McFarlane's half swallow boom is not effective It can be physiologically impossible to swallow and say boom at the same time, can induce vocal hyperfunction and damage to vocal fold, which can increase the risk of worsening a voice problem. This can cause an iatrogenic voice problem, that is one that is caused or worsened by the action of the clinician. And also no empirical evidence that this technique is effective. Panback are trying to say that all effort closure techniques should be used in moderation because of the damage they can cause. Voice therapy as a whole, overall voice therapy is very promising. Typically pubophonic patients produce a functional lower pitch during the first session, highly motivated to use their new voice. Very rare that they need follow-up therapy, psychological counseling. It recommended to continue therapy until the patient new voice is stabilized. Basically it is that first you have to motivate the patient for taking therapy. In the first session the pubophonic patient produce a functional lower pitch voice. Then it is a video of puophonia therapy by using finger. But after it is a image of surgical management of the puophonia from the in the surgical procedures. There will be a vertical incision of thyroid cartilage. Thank you.